present to you Derrick Brown.
I'd like to thank y'all for being here, and thank you for having me here. As Dr. Hill said, I'm a little different than how I approach things, and she mentioned that she wanted me to talk to you at length about the charter school process, the startup process, and I said, okay, we can get there, but I've probably never done anything like a straight line. I find much more value in kind of meandering a little bit, because that's how you discover things. You find out things that you wouldn't have figured out if you just went from point A to point B. So where I want to go with you today is on a journey from 50,000 feet in the air. That's where I like to kind of deal with things, because you kind of see what's going on and you see it with a perspective that allows you to do something about it, because you're not all caught up in it. So by the end of the time that we have here, what time is class over?
7.
So by the end of the class today, I want to draw a frame for you, and I want to put a few stick figures in it, and then we're going to talk about moving all those stick figures around. And what I just said metaphorically is, I have a handout, and this handout describes some ideas that I want to talk to you about. And if you'll indulge me in the discussion of the ideas, you'll find that each of these ideas ties to one, two, or even a few stories from my experiences that I think might relate to, connect to you. I never program the stories. Never. Because they just kind of come out the way they need to come out, and that's something I just trust. Every time I'm in front of an audience, I never think about what I'm going to say. I just feel the moment, and then I say it. And I have Keisha, my fiance, and she's also.
Would you formally introduce her, please? She does have her own personality.
Keisha Lanier, math educator in her own right, actually the best teacher I've ever seen. That's part of the reason why I'm married. I'm no dummy. But yeah, I watched her teach some of my kids, and I saw her get something out of my kids that I couldn't get out of them. And I said, oh, all right, we're going to have to talk. And she talked to me. It took a while, but she talked to me. Glad to have you. And then just a little bit about me now. I am currently assistant principal at Tech High School. I have a varied background. I've done many things in my life. I'm a young man. I'm an old soul. I've seen a lot. I've talked a whole lot about what I've seen, but I listen more than I talk, and that gives me a lot of insight, a lot of experience, a lot of wherewithal about situations, even situations I haven't visited yet. I am an educated engineer. I've been trained at Clemson University and at Georgia Tech in electrical engineering, and what connects that to what I do now is that training teaches you how to see and how to strategize and how to solve. And it begins with a lot of really weird looking mathematics, a lot of strange situations that physics is used to describe, a lot of problems that we have here in the world that are solved through science and application of technology. And you learn that, you get good at that, and you realize one day that what you have learned after you forget everything else is you kind of learn how to solve problems. So then you set about trying to solve the problems that you care about solving. And for me, that problem is education, and that's how I ended up where I am. I want to pass these out to you, though. And you'll find, what was your name? Sherman. All right, Sherman has some index cards. If at any point during my talk a question pops into your head, please fill them out, get them to Sherman, and let them put them in the question bag there. I've got this schedule where I'll talk to you about these big ideas for maybe 20, 30 minutes. That's my limit for lecture. And I want to get out of the way and deal with most of this in question and answer format, because I think that'll be a fruitful approach. I've tried it many times and seen it work many times. So the handout that you have before you now frames everything I'm going to talk about today, and I want to tackle each of them one by one, and perhaps tell you a little story, real quick story that kind of lifts up and illustrates that idea, and then it's on to the next one. We good? All right. Idea one.